And musicians, athletes, actors, entrepreneurs, people that are driven don't have healthy schedule. It's all good and well, working, going on a 2-week holiday, working, going on a 3-week. But that isn't a healthy schedule.
Yeah, and a lot of entrepreneurs, they do make their biggest successes during the night when everyone's asleep. Whether it's a book writer, a songwriter, someone who writes poems, someone who's on the computer coding website, everyone does their shit during the night time because that's when everyone else's energy is down, which means their consciousness can stream through and connect to things that they can't during the day.
Energy is working for everyone, but you have to recognise where and when it is working for you, because it's working for you right now. You're a viewer, you're watching this. There's an energy working for you right now. It might be working for you to come into a new love. It might be working for you to get a new job. It might be working for you to exit a job that isn't serving you, but there's a new job waiting for you. The energy might be producing a job vacancy that you're going to see reading the Metro news on the way back on the tube after work, and that will come. But there's an energy field out there that's working for you to give you the life that you are on.
And what fascinates me is I'd say I'm one of the most healthiest people on the planet in terms of how I live my life, but still I will get ill around winter time.
Yeah.
That tells me that I'm no different to any other human being, and actually all the stuff that I'm doing isn't necessarily helping me avoid being ill, but it is just on a day-to-day basis allowing me to feel that slightly better than what the average person would feel if they didn't have sleep, if they didn't have water, if they didn't take vitamins. And it's not about being pure and positive and high and happy all the time. It's about maintaining that neutral balance of I don't feel shit, I don't feel incredible, but that's as good as it gets.
But it's also
Right, Josh, you're sniffing my sage and my whatever that's called, San Pellegrino. I just think it's a lemon drink in Italy.
So Ollie's got these two things in his new wagon. As you can see, the studio's been upgraded. He's actually spending his money,
and you're saving like a tight fuck. Anyway,
I think you'd go to jail for breaking into a fiver.
Yeah, you're talking about smells, and what is it about smells?
Well, I'm talking more about. It's just I'm going through a phase at the moment in my life where I'm feeling very human, where I'm observing everything from a human point of view. Call it burnout, call it overworking. But I will look at a human and think, well, you're just a human and I'm just a human. And if I do things, I'm just a human doing things. And if you're watching this and you can relate to that, then you're not feeling within yourself. You're actually almost thinking outwardly.
Rather than a human being, you're a human doing.
Is that the thing?
Like we're human that's simply just supposed to be being.
Yeah.
Just present, meditating, being aware of our surroundings and our existence, and we've not got long on this planet. Whereas we're human doings all the time. We're always doing something apart from being, which is what we're supposed to do.
And you're so not being yourself that you're also heavily observing others. You know, that's someone playing football. I could play football. I've got 2 arms, 2 legs, and I'm just a human. That's someone cleaning the dishes. But there's thought behind what they're doing. They're not just doing.
Exactly. They are people that have been aware of themselves being a human doing, maybe even through a human being, and they've decided to do something and take action where they are now not just being, but they are now doing. And before you know it, they're doing something that was just a thought in their head.
Of course. And everyone is just acting out a thought. It takes a thought to do that. You do it, then you move on. I didn't know you went to Victoria's.
I did. Anyway, so you had a burnout recently.
Yes.
And that is a result of you being so driven, so motivated, so consistent, so persistent, so obsessed with one thing, which is your football coaching, that the universe is like, Josh, you've been a good boy doing all these things, but you need to rest.
So the burnout is actually not gone away. I'm still going through burnout.
You're burning.
I'm just managing it slightly better. And the problem is, when you run your own business and you do the business and you are the product and you do it, and anyone that's watching this that can relate to that, is you take on a lot and as you're doing the things that you've taken on that you're being paid for, you start to think to yourself, blimey, I've taken on a lot here. This is a lot for me to deal with. And you're still taking on more, and it's almost like you're looking at your diary thinking, when does this even end? And if you had told me that 2 years ago when I first started out, I would have been like, no, I'll take that busy diary, I'll take that money, I'll take that. That's exactly what I want. But when you're in it, you learn a lot. So it's lessons learned. You know, next year or next summer, I know not to make the same mistakes as what I'm going to make, because really and truly, you only know what you know. You know, you and that goes for anything in life. You know, you only know what you know. Oh, one day you're going to get your heart broken. Oh yeah, whatever. I don't get my heart broken. You get your heart broken, and you realise, oh right, I played that one a little bit wrong. I shouldn't have said what I said when I said it. I shouldn't have done the act. But you learn through doing, and that's not just with one thing in life. I strongly believe that's with everything.
Yeah, I went to a Victoria's Festival and Becky Hill was there, and she was on stage. She was coughing, and she was like, "Hang on a minute, guys." She's going. She goes, "She's just had laryngitis, just had an ear infection. She's just had all these problems going wrong, bad back or whatever."
Of course.
And she was like, "It's catching up on me."
Of course.
And I was like, "But you've literally just left your house and come to Victoria's to do a gig." And I'm like, no, she hasn't. She's really come from Europe. She's travelling the world every day. Her sleep's fucked, different continents, different time zones, different temperatures. Her body is exhausted, and she said out loud, "I don't think I can do this much longer." It's taken a toll on her body.
Of course. Well,
and she's thirsty.
It's not just Becky Hill's been relevant for the past 8 years.
Yeah, she's huge.
So it's not just the last 6 months. This is an 8-year cycle. And yes, she's probably taken time out. She's probably done a 2-week break. She's probably had a month in America relaxing and doing. I don't know, she might not have done. I'm sure she has. I'm sure she's taken a few Christmases off.
But you need longer.
But no, you need a
more.
healthy schedule, right? And musicians, athletes, actors, entrepreneurs, people that are driven don't have healthy schedules.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You know, you need to have a healthy schedule. It's all good and well working, going on a 2-week holiday, working, going on a 2-week. But that isn't a healthy schedule.
Yeah, and a lot of entrepreneurs, they do make their biggest successes during the night when everyone's asleep. Whether it's a book writer, a songwriter, someone who writes poems, someone who's on the computer coding website, everyone does their shit during the night time, because that's when everyone else's energy is down, which means their consciousness can stream through and connect to things that they can't during the day.
Of course.
Because everyone else is also tuning into the same antenna, essentially.
Yeah, but, you know, going back to what I said, like, being aware of your own body and your boundaries is the best gift that you can have, / the best skill that you can learn. And throughout my journey, I am making a note of what lights me up, what brings my energy down, what makes me happy, when I thrive, when I'm most active. Well, you know, I'm making a note of these things whilst doing what makes me most upset, what makes me most anxious, what makes me most stressed, what tires me out the most. And as you learn, you have to navigate your schedule and your life into those directions. And I'm victim of it. A lot of people think, well, if I do less, I'm going to make less. If I do less, I'm not going to be the success that I want to be. And really and truly, it actually doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You know, in my head right now, I'm thinking if I don't work 7 days a week, then I'm going to not be a success. But what I'm actually learning is, how about working 5 days a week, but putting more into those 5 days and having those 2 days, call it a Sunday and a Wednesday, or having those 2 days to properly recharge, reset, so I can give the 5 days that I'm working on all of my energy and all of my effort. That's where I'm at right now. But I only got to that place from doing, burning out, failing, doing, success, failing. You know, it takes time.
Yeah, you only learn through trial and error and through your own pain. Like, my dad taught me all the mistakes that he knew I was going to make growing up, because he's done it. But as much as he is right, I still had to go through the pain.
Of course.
To experience the pain, because like, you need to experience what it feels like, so your body doesn't want to do it again.
Me punching you in the arm is really going to hurt.
Yeah.
You don't know that. But until I do it, you don't know it. And it's the same with getting in that freezing cold pool is going to really, really wake you up. Okay, the thought of it, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. Go and do it, you know. And I always say you can't be hot when you're cold. That's like my big saying, well, you can't be cold when you're hot. And what that means is you can't think about how you're going to feel until you have been there and felt it. And you don't know your body. People watching this, you're learning about your body. You will never fully understand your body, your brain, the way you work. You can continue to learn about it and listen to podcasts and read books and study the body, but you will never truly, fully understand your body, because as the days go on, you're getting older, things are changing, but what you can do is learn about your body as best you can. No one's got all the answers. Everything's opinion based. Everyone has their own way of feeling happy and doing that. But you've got to learn about yours.
Yeah, I always I take lots of vitamins, I fast, I eat very healthily, I get a good sleep, I drink loads of water. And what fascinates me is I'd say I'm one of the most healthiest people on the planet in terms of how I live my life. But still, I will get ill around winter time.
Yeah.
That tells me that I'm no different to any other human being, and actually all the stuff that I'm doing isn't necessarily helping me avoid being ill, but it is just on a day-to-day basis allowing me to feel that slightly better than what the average person would feel if they didn't have sleep, if they didn't have water, if they didn't take vitamins. And it's not about being pure and positive and high and happy all the time. It's about maintaining that neutral balance of I don't feel shit, I don't feel incredible, but that's as good as it gets.
But it's also, people are blind. You know, I'm blind to certain things. You know, I don't meditate, so I'm blind to what meditation might bring to my life.
Something I've told you about for the last 2 years.
I don't do smoke weed. So I don't smoke weed, by the way. So I am blind to what maybe that might open my mind up to make me feel. I know this is quite an open podcast, so I'll talk about it. You know, I've never taken acid, but I'm told that when you take acid or LSD or ayahuasca or whatever it might be, your brain opens up. So I'm blind to that. What I was blind to in my 20s was health. And what I mean by that is, in my 20s, I would drink, I would stay up late, I would have bad sleeping patterns because I worked in nightclubs, so I would go to bed late, I would get up late, and I was thinking the way I felt and the way I acted and the way my body was and the way my skin was and the way I thought that was normal. Do you understand it? I thought that was well, this is how everyone must think because this is how I'm feeling. How I'm feeling is no, completely wrong. So I didn't realise what good sleep, a good diet, less stress, a healthy relationship with healthy working hours. You know, I'm still in bed by 10 o'clock, 10:30 now, whereas before I was going to bed at stupid hours. My circadian rhythm was all over the place, is the correct term. But I was blind to that. So now I know what it feels like to actually have energy during the day. To not have to drink loads of coffee to get energy. Know what good breakfasts, good lunches and good dinners, how they make you operate and how they feel. What exercise actually does, not just to lose weight, what it actually does for your mental state. But there are people out there that are blind to that. The man or the woman that sits in the office that eats a Subway for lunch every day and goes home to a ready meal, doesn't use the gym because they're too busy, doesn't drink a lot of water because they don't like how it tastes. Can't go to sleep until 1 a.m. because they're still wired on the coffee that they drank and they are obsessed with Netflix. That person feels okay, but they don't know how it would feel to feel better.
Yeah.
So part of my job when I was personal training was opening people's eyes to this will make you feel better. Just give it a go. And because it's not immediate, people aren't often prepared to give it a go.
Yeah.
They have to get to such a point where they're unhappy. And then when they come to me and they're like, right, I want to lose weight. I'm like, okay, let's embark on your weight loss journey together. Let's do it. And as they're losing weight, they're saying, oh, I'm sleeping better. My skin feels better. I'm less stressed at work. I have more energy. All of a sudden, I actually want to walk to work. I don't just want to drive. All of a sudden, I'm much more happier when me and my wife go to meet her parents. I'm less anxious. I'm less worried about money. Like it all compounds together, but it's not immediate. What is immediate is going to the pub and getting drunk. What is immediate is going to your local dealer and buying some drugs that might make you feel happy for 2-3 hours. And that's why sometimes the low-hanging fruit is the easiest fruit to take, because it's there for you. And I've been that guy, believe me. I feel unhappy, been dumped by my girlfriend, better go to the pub and get happy. Have
I seen you since I did LSD in Portugal?
No.
So yeah, I haven't told you anything about that experience?
No, because you were very anti-drugs, I thought.
Would you like to ask me questions?
Yes, but you are anti-drugs.
I was anti-drugs my whole life, and I'm more I'm not anti anything, but I don't see the purpose in taking drugs like coke that will just make you really, really high when I'm already really high in life anyway.
Yeah.
Something like LSD, mushrooms, ayahuasca, rewires your brain,
in
makes
a good
you
way.
See life completely differently.
Okay, let's talk about this then.
I decided to move out because of the LSD.
This is interesting because to people watching this, Ollie's one of my close friends and we speak to each other a lot, but I never knew he had done LSD, and we've just been together for 3 hours prior to this. And
you still didn't know?
No, I swear on my life I didn't know you did LSD. So this will be actually a really good conversation. This is a good conversation to have. This is a nice one. But this is the universe giving us good content. Right. I want Ollie's podcast to be successful.
Let's go. Your question.
Right. Did you do it to impress the person you were with?
Nope. I did it because I always knew that this was one drug that I would do at the right time when it comes up.
So explain, you know me, I'm a sucker for detail. Who did you get it off?
So my twin flame went out to Portugal.
No names mentioned, please.
Okay, I went out to see if there was anything more between us after push and pull of 5 years.
I know. I warned him about this.
6 days.
Apparently it was not like that.
Anyway, I spent 6 days.
So you're lying to your friend.
Spent 6 days with her to see if there's anything more, a relevant topic. So LSD was there. She was like, before we went, shall I get us some LSD? I said, absolutely fine.
Okay,
I
said, you trusted her. Did it come in tab form?
It came in tab form. I said get 6.
Was there cartoons on the tabs?
It was this tiny little sticker with whatever it was on it, right? And then we both put it under our tongue. She actually took 2, and she's done it before, so she's numb to it. I've never done anything like this before, apart from mushrooms. Stuck it under my tongue. Was starting to do the ecstatic dance. My mouth started to go a bit numb. My legs started.
Were you nervous before taking it?
No.
No?
I thought she said it would just be like mushrooms.
Right. So my big thing is, what happens if I never come out the trip?
Yeah. So luckily for me, when I closed my eyes, it actually felt nice.
Okay.
I felt good.
Because sometimes you can't escape the trip.
It was an 8-hour trip. I was in my head for 8 hours.
My idea of
lying
hell.
on my back for 8 hours.
My idea of hell.
And
we are so different.
I remember saying it wasn't a feeling where I felt nervous, scary, or sick. It was almost like this really nice feeling that I was just in.
Were you hallucinating?
I was seeing images and like geometry and patterns and cartoons in my head. I was laughing. I felt like a bit retarded, a bit numb. I was trying to talk to people, but I couldn't. Looking at my phone, it was all blurry. I didn't want to stand up. I just wanted to lay down. I remember not being able to. It was like I was drunk. I remember, I'm feel fucked. Like I may look nice now, but I'm fucked.
Yeah, brilliant. Do you remember this?
Yeah. I remember the whole thing.
And you were lying on your back in a field in Lisbon,
in the middle of the woods, at the ecstatic dance.
Yeah, and you were
listening to the music.
What sort of things were you thinking?
The first part of the trip, it was just geometry and all these like symbols like this is going into each other. It just kept going in and kept going in.
Were you ever thinking to yourself, when am I going to get out of this?
I was just embracing the moment. I didn't realise it would last 8 hours. I didn't know where it would go. I was just in that moment seeing like Joe Biden was popping up and sex dolls are coming into my head and very like sexual and erotic, like kind of like Camden, just really sexual and erotic.
Yeah.
And tits and like just hardcore porn basically for some reason.
Right. That's probably what's on your mind.
It's probably, I actually worked out why am I thinking like this, and it's because people in the Camden scene who take LSD are in like the erotic porn, that type of scene. I was tuning into the consciousness of the people who take this, such as the people that go to Camden.
Well, like everyone takes it,
and
but
they're in those scenes. Anyway, so that was it. And then my friends stopped dancing. And then we went to get some food. And
do you remember? Were you snapping out of it at this point?
No, I was going into it. I was going into it, and I was like.
And how was she after taking 2?
It was just nothing. Like she hadn't taken anything. Absolutely nothing.
That's quite a dangerous place to be.
Yeah. So she was like, I don't understand. Like, what's going on, because
But
I feel fine.
Yeah, but that's the worst thing you can have around you.
She's
because
like, I feel fine.
No, that's worse, because you're like, oh my God, am I actually going mental? I remember I smoked weed once, and the person I was with was like, yeah, I'm fine now. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not fine now. Oh my God, this is me fucked forever.
And then she said, do you want to go sit down? And I was like, yeah. So we had some food, and this guy was making a frappe, and in my head I just suddenly went, can you hurry up? I didn't realise that he's making a frappe, meaning he's pouring it down, he's doing that. I thought it was just like, fucking put rice in the cart and let's go. And I was like, I'm so sorry, I would never have said that if I was not fucked. And then she was like, you're so rude. I says, I'm out my fucking head. I may look normal, but I'm out my head.
She's not the person to be around, clearly, when you're absolutely...
So then we went and sat down, we went and ate. We started speaking about how this person was from Lebanon, and how she had to move because of like the war out there. And that she just literally just packed up her shit and left. She lived with her family until she was 30. And then she had a broken leg during COVID, and that she coped by herself for 6 months. And then I linked that to, wow, I've never been ill. And if I have been ill, I've been at home, and my mum and my dad, I just called them downstairs, can you bring me up some food or coffee and tea? I'd never been ill without my parents there to just look after me at 30 years old. And so that was making me really think about, wow, eventually I'm going to have to grow up and handle life without anybody, whether I've got broken leg, whether I'm ill. No one's going to bring me fucking tea and coffee. I've still got to do adult shit. And it was like, wow, that was on my mind. She's done that, maybe I should do that. And so the LS trip, because I was so focused on that, was about me stepping into my masculine and taking charge of my life. Now, for the first 4 nights of being in Portugal, I had diarrhea because I had food poisoning at the airport.
What did you eat?
Fucking sausage. So I was shitting my
What airport?
Heathrow Airport. Anyway.
You ate sausage at Heathrow Airport?
Yeah, I was shitting my arse out.
Hang on a minute, we need to know more about this. Where did you eat sausage at Heathrow Airport?
No, this breakfast place.
Gordon Ramsay's one?
No, I looked at some sausage and I was like, this isn't cooked.
Did you fly out at T5?
Yeah.
Yeah, that you would have been at Gordon Ramsay's one then.
Anyway, I looked at the sausage and it was a bit white, and I asked for some more sausage and it also came back white. Anyway, I ate a little bit. I was shitting for the first 4 days, like, didn't stop. I was in bed, I was ill, and then she was bringing me paracetamol and water, and I was like,
that's probably why she didn't like you.
I was like, she's mothering me, and I was
like,
you
were shitting yourself.
She's mothering me. I don't want to be mothered. Like, this is what my mum's done, and you can't be with a partner who's mothering you. You don't fuck your mother. And so it was like heavily on my mind.
Don't you?
No, you need to be you need to be like completely independent as a man, as a masculine. And yet I've had all these women figures take charge of me, look after me, not because I'm retarded, just because it's just the pattern I've always known.
You were retarded when you were on LSD.
I've watched my mum look after my dad, and his mum look after him, and so the man pattern in my family is the woman's the more masculine, so step down. It's like, this is wrong, this pattern has to break. So during the LSD trip, it was all about me stepping into my masculine, becoming a man, and essentially I have to move out to allow my mum to be in her feminine, so my dad can be in his masculine. She can't be in her feminine if she's in her masculine looking after me. The mother's in the masculine providing. I'm 30 years old, my mum's looking after me as the masculine. When I leave, she steps into her feminine, my dad steps up into his masculine. The dynamic resets.
You thought about this whilst on LSD?
It was like 4 hours of trying to understand and analyse, and why my dad's in his masculine because his mum's in her masculine, and everything was like, try to work out where the imbalance was. A man's supposed to be 70-60% in his masculine, and the woman, when she's with the man, is 30-40% in her feminine. That's the dynamic of life. And it all was unbalanced, and I realised I've got to move out to energetically let myself free and my parents free.
Right, so when are you moving out?
Within the next 6 months. I've put out to the universe.
To Oxford?
Around that area.
Well, are we still going to be able to film together?
I'm sure we can, yeah. Anyway, so that was the experience of the LSD trip. It rewired my brain. Okay. And don't forget, 6 months before, I would have never moved out.
No, I know.
I would have waited to be a millionaire and then moved out.
I get it.
Because of this fucking LSD, it rewired my brain.
I get it.
And I decided...
I need to know a couple more questions.
Okay.
How did you feel yourself coming out of the trip?
I was in my head and I was crying.
You were crying?
Yeah, I was crying because I was
Why?
Speaking to my parents in my head and saying all the stuff that I'd worked out as if they were here, and understanding, like, I understand why this is like this and you're like this and I forgive you, blah, blah, blah. So
you remember all this as well?
Oh yeah, deep in thought. It's like having Tourette's again. That's what I remember saying. It was like having Tourette's. I was in my head thinking for hours, like how I did with Tourette's. And it was like, fuck, I spent 5 hours thinking, I'm exhausted.
Did you think about every thought with Tourette's?
Every thought. So
you thought about you becoming a football player?
If that was something I wanted to do at the time. But the point is that I remember non-stop thinking for 4 hours, and I kept looking at the clock. An hour had passed, and I was still thinking.
Yeah.
And it's like just gotta think about this last thing, just this last thing.
What is that? Why do you have to answer your brain's thoughts with stuff like OCD? Why do you, with that OCD thing? Why is it like, right, I need to answer this question and then I can be happy?
Because when your neurons, when they fire up, they create more energy. You're creating a circuit and a charge. More neurons fire, more neurons fire, more neurons fire, more fire. That's what I've told you, Josh. The only option, like for me with the Q and Tourette's, was to meditate. I can no longer think because thoughts won't end. I have to not think, or I spend my life in my head. I spend my life in my head.
You can't control your thoughts then?
You can if you meditate.
Well, no, because you just said you can't think, so there are no
as in
thoughts
I
to
could choose
control.
to keep thinking or not.
Why is thinking a bad thing?
If you can't control your thoughts and it takes over your life, then obviously it's a bad thing. But laying on my back for 4 hours trying to work out all this shit reminded me of how I used to be. In my head, just thinking, and then I wake up and the whole world's moved on.
Yeah.
And I've literally come out of my head exhausted. I'm looking around and I'm seeing like everything everyone's just doing their thing. They're chatting, they're talking, they're walking, the guy's cooking the frappe, and I'm just like this, just staring into space, just coming out of this trip of...
Because really and truly, there's no answer to all the thoughts. You're best off just not going down the rabbit hole, right?
Exactly.
That's the argument here. It's not like you don't go and seek help and they're like, we're going to solve your problems for you. You go and seek help and they say, we're going to get you to stop thinking that way.
Yeah,
is that right?
It's like you go to an apple tree, you take off all the apples and then more apples grow. You get a rose bush, you cut the rose bush and then more stems grow.
Yeah.
And then you cut those stems and then more grow. Like, in this world, everything creates more of what it is. More thoughts, more berries, more grass, more children, more leaves, more fucking everything. So, like, unless you can control when you think, the aim is not to think. Now, I can control when I think, but it's more the fact that it was like having Tourette's, and that was just me non-stop thinking. And it made sense why I used to be so exhausted. It made sense why I worked out so much.
Would you wake up in the morning and just think?
Yeah. I remember sometimes...
But there's a way to break that by actually going out and doing.
Yeah. But again, you got to control your brain first before you can do that. It's not as simple as just stop thinking. You got to control the muscle that thinks. You got to have a reason to not think about this last thought because you know it's not going to end.
Yeah.
It's like saying, one more fag, then I'll stop.
Yeah.
You've got to know from trial and error, from experience and wisdom, that one fag will not stop because your brain wants more of what you've given it. So the only way to control it is to let that thought die out. Starve the bug. You know, when you're ill, starve your bug by not eating. You can't just have a little snack because you just start the bugs off again.
Yeah.
Starve the fuckers.
I can't believe you did LSD in Portugal. Now I'm understanding why the twin flame thing didn't work, because she saw you in your most retarded state. She probably wants someone that's a bit more with themselves when they do drugs, and that's no word of a lie.
It's nothing to do with that.
Oh, mate, you'd be surprised. She probably really wants to be with someone who is a bit more on it with drugs. Like, I need to be able to do
real
LSD.
Man who lives at home.
Yeah.
Who's got his own place.
I want to be able to do LSD with someone that isn't a complete fucking moron.
Anyway, that's debatable. So would you ever do anything like that?
No.
To rewire your brain?
No.
Or would you think that you'd literally be like, fuck, help me get me out?
No.
And end up fucking killing yourself?
No. I'd rather do a year in jail than do LSD.
I was thinking today, would I do it again? And when I think how it felt on it versus how it felt when I was out, what I learnt and gained, it's not something that I would rush to do it again. I think it had an incredible purpose.
I don't believe in it. Can I undo this window, please?
You absolutely can. I should put the aircon on. Keep going.
No, doing LSD, mushrooms goes completely against how I think and feel. Oh, God. I don't want to ever be out of control. I don't want to be in my head. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. My life's okay. Like, yeah, I've got my own problems. Of course, everyone's got their own problems, but I'm dealing with my own problems in the best way I know how to. And going and doing a hallucinogenic drug, in my opinion, and opening up these parts of my brain which a drug has got to open up and might not close back up properly.
Yes, true.
Is not my idea of curing a problem. My idea of curing a problem is physical activity and physical relationship and physical interaction and humanly behaviour that is going to carry me through life and give me purpose and feeling. not seeking that through taking a tab that might, but you'll always get out of it eventually. But what if you don't? And what if you really completely ruin your life with a thought that will never leave you, and the doctors and anyone else out there can't cure it because you've taken something that is illegal, that has been made illegal. I know it was legal at one point when they first invented it. You know why LSD was invented, don't you?
No.
To cure car sickness.
Really?
A tiny little bit of LSD would help you with car sickness.
So obviously mushrooms are like weed in the UK.
I don't know why mushrooms grow out of the ground and they carry a poison with them that opens up your brain.
Yeah, it's illegal because it awakens people, but because of like depression and suicidal rates in the UK and anxiety, they are slowly opening up the doors, just like cannabis, where you can take it for medicinal purposes if prescribed by a doctor.
Yeah, you can
mushrooms are on that way for that
you
happening.
can get prescribed MDMA. There's MDMA therapy as a thing, isn't it?
And fucking horse tranquilizer, what's that?
Ketamine, yeah.
People give out ketamine for like medical reasons, the same as mushrooms, but the point is that you don't really want to be allowing people to wake up, but then if there's such an epidemic of like depression, anxiety, well, you can't keep up. You've got to do something, and mushrooms, just like TCB or whatever it's called, TBC cannabis, that's been used for pain.
And what about
mushrooms can be used for depression?
That drug,
DMT.
Yeah,
the Joe Rogan favourite.
What's that all about? Would you ever take that?
Absolutely. That's a 15-minute trip where that's really powerful, really deep. That
DMT is what you release when you die, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's also what you can release when you meditate and through breath work. It's in your pineal gland, but if you know how to squeeze it through meditation, through breath work, you can secrete the fluids, in the form of crystals, to come out and to feel it.
That's mental.
Which is activated when apparently when you die.
It's fucking nuts.
I've had a glimpse of that for a DMT vape. Only slightly. It was just like the slightest puff.
Where was this?
It was on a beach in Cornwall. It was the slightest puff, like it was just, and it was like a minute of this, like you just see everything differently.
And what are your views on sex?
I love sex. There's also a thing I did in a medicine festival called Happy.
Happy.
Where basically it's a little, like a wishbone image, where you put this tobacco with this sacred plant tree, and it's powder, and you blow it up your nose, and you sit in that feeling, and it's the most grounding feeling ever. You have this most painful pain, and then it settles, and then you ground, and it's called Happy. Happy. And it's incredibly powerful.
Interesting.
So
I know there's certain foods that can bring out the best side of you.
Is there?
Yeah.
Well, natural foods.
Right.
Like, you do know that in the UK there is certain plants that you can smoke that give you a high.
Like?
There's a plant called a blue lotus.
A blue lotus?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is just a wild plant that if you like grind it down, you can smoke it, and you can actually get the feeling of being high. But I don't think many people know that, because people would be fucking chopping it down and smoking it all the time.
They'd be going nuts. Food can definitely have a negative approach though, right? So, if you eat well, you can obviously feel great, but if you eat badly, you can feel very tired and sluggish.
So I only worked out recently that, or heard recently that we only absorb 10% of all food and drink and vitamins.
Right.
So I don't eat much, I just have nuts, but yet I'm shitting so much, and it's because we actually only take in 10% of the food.
I'm sure your viewers love that extra.
The same as when I drink loads of water, sometimes I'm still thirsty after drinking 3-4 litres, because I'm actually taking on like 10%. I've just started taking vitamin B, and my piss is yellow, and that's because it's my liver removing all the vitamins it doesn't need. Because basically all the vitamins that I'm taking, I'm only absorbing 10%, which is crazy. Our body doesn't need that much to live.
No.
Like, we don't necessarily need the literage of fluid, but what's in the water, such as oxygen and all the salts that are in it, that's what we need. We don't need to have all this food we're eating. We just need the substances in the food, such as fibre and protein and you know, whatever.
And what's the plan for the next year for you, Oliver?
Plan for the next year is it's the same every year. Get £1 million in the bank.
Okay. Why $1 million?
Because it's a nice round figure. It's a life-changing goal as it is, but it's also a figure that can open up other doors and opportunities for me. And when I've got that £1 million, I'm going to go to the bank and I'm going to go, hey, I need a £50 million loan. They're going to go, what for? I say, I need to buy...
Tell me about this, a block of flats.
A block of flats with rental income of £2,000 per unit, and there's 100. He says, how much is that? I say, 200 grand a month, sir. He goes, let me get the calculator and just confirm. He goes, yes. 100 times £2,000 is 200,000.
You can think then. You keep saying that you can't think. You've managed to think about this.
No, when I choose to think and work something out, that has a purpose.
Right.
I'm not constantly just in my head thinking about, why is there only 4 berries on that tree?
Yeah.
It's the middle of summer.
Why do I think like that though?
Because you don't meditate, Josh.
Okay.
Meditation is the secret ingredient for life.
Noted.
If you meditate, only will you realise, fuck, I understand now. I understand why Buddha and Monk and Jesus and fucking all these celebrities and rich people are like they are. Why they are able to be so successful and so on all the time, but yet not burn out, like Trump. Trump hasn't burnt out or got ill.
He doesn't meditate though.
For the last 10 years.
He doesn't meditate.
No, but he's not thinking. He's not got that commentator constantly on. That brain takes that more energy than the body. If your brain is on all the time,
and you don't know that he's not thinking.
You can tell by someone like Trump that the way he's able to talk so much detail in every given moment and be so present that he's not thinking. He's not in an interview and he's thinking about, oh, she's got a wart on her lip. He's listening, he's looking in your eyes, he's focused for that 3-hour conversation.
Will he be president again?
Absolutely.
Why?
Do you remember I told you 4 years ago, Josh?
Why?
What did I say 4 years ago?
He's going to be president again.
And?
Well, I don't know what else.
I said, but Joe Biden will end up being kicked out and Pamela Harris will end up
that's fine.
being running mate. I told you
I
that.
don't really remember that. But what I do remember is you just saying right then that he will definitely become president.
100%.
But why 100%?
It just will. He just will. It's a knowing. Josh, my viewers, they don't want to hear you fucking farting and trumping and burping.
Why not? Trumping. Universe.
Trumping.
We're big on the universe. We've got some stories about the universe. We will be talking about someone random and then we'll bump into them.
Well, we've got 10 minutes left. Talk about a story happened today. We're in the field doing your coaching.
We go to a field where I do my workouts and stuff, and he's recording me. And the groundsman comes over, says, oh, we've had a referee that comes up here and does his own fitness regimes as well. He wants me to draw some pitch markings out for him, and I said, no, I'm not.
And he's quick, right? He's a 100-metre sprint. Is that the guy?
No, it's another one. That's another one. No, don't confuse the viewers. But there's one guy that we're talking about. Anyway, me and Ollie, we do the filming quickly, then we get in the car and then we catch up. We've not seen each other for about 3 months now, which is quite scary. It's been a very long time.
And I used to see Josh every week.
Well, hopefully he's going to be seeing me every week again, because we have a Wednesday club basically, which actually is good for both of us, really.
Yes,
isn't it?
It's definitely.
But we didn't do it because we were just both busy and
festivals
stuff.
And shit.
Festival stuff, and you went off radar looking after a dog
LSD
and stuff. Yeah. Well, you were looking after a dog before the
LSD. Oh yeah.
But anyway, we're not getting into that. What I'm saying is, we then, after talking to the groundsman about this guy, we go into the town where we always go, we get some food, and then we go for a little wander, and we bumped into the guy that he was talking about, which is just mental, isn't it? It's just, and then we were talking about burnout. I was saying, I've suffered with burnout recently. I get a voice note from a guy that I've not spoken to in ages, and within
how long, by the way? Just how long?
Well, I've not spoken to him for about 5 months.
Wow.
So within the time we're together, in the 3 hours, the frequency so strong that I've spoke to him about burnout, and within 20 minutes, half an hour of telling him about me being burnt out, speak to my mate who I've not spoken to in ages, been like, yeah, so he voice notes me. He says, oh, sorry, mate, I've been so busy with work, been doing like 80 hours of overtime. It's crazy. I actually went to my boss and said, look, mate, I've got burnout. And burnout is something that I never talk about. It's something that's never in our conversations. The minute I tell him about my burnout, my friend's frequency to get in contact with me tells me about his burnout, and it's just interesting how that works.
And you saw the other guy in the town centre that you were thinking about?
Yeah.
That guy?
I've just told the viewers about that.
No, the other guy, the bald guy, where we were getting the trophies. The guy who walked past us. And I was like whistling.
Oh yeah, footballer. Again, I was talking about him yesterday to someone, but that's fine. It's like again, it's crazy though. Yeah, it's crazy.
And how often do these stories happen for you? And when was the last one that happened that was so powerful and so memorable, apart from these 3 today? Because it happened a lot.
Yeah, it does
this
happen
week.
A lot.
Big one this week.
Oh, I can't think now. I don't know. I should make a note of them. But when you're in such a strong energy field, they come. Yes. It's like I'm thinking of him. He messages me. I'm thinking of that person. They pop up. I'm thinking of that thing. It pops up on the news. It's like it's so magnetic. It's like I need that. I need to speak to that person. I need this to happen. Oh, by the way, to the point of I book my own diary in. Right, I do my own diary, and my energy and the universe is watching over me and working with me so much that I will double book myself, but the universe will get me out of trouble. So I've double booked myself a handful of times.
And you don't even know you double booked yourself.
And I've not even done it. And I will get a message from the person being like, oh, sorry, we can't make it today. So-and-so's not feeling very well.
What? We haven't got you in today.
Yeah,
oh, fuck.
No. And I'll be like, okay. And then up walks another person. And it's like, I didn't have you booked in, but because that person's cancelled, you're okay. And it's like everything looks after itself, and it's just quite interesting when that happens. It's kind of like it honestly is just an energy field that's just moving.
You surrender to the energy field to balance out and move the things into place that aren't or are in place.
Of course.
But
you only recognise that when you fall into it and you understand it. Energy is working for everyone, right? We'll finish on this. Energy is working for everyone, but you have to recognise where and when it is working for you, because it's working for you right now. You're a viewer, you're watching this. There's an energy working for you right now. It might be working for you to come into a new love. It might be working for you to get a new job. It might be working for you to exit a job that isn't serving you, but there's a new job waiting for you. The energy might be producing a job vacancy that you're going to see reading the Metro news on the way back on the tube after work, and that will come. But there's an energy field out there that's working for you to give you the life that you are on. But you have to have that vision of actually where you really want to be in order for the energy fields to step up for you, to figure out. Because when you don't have a clear goal and a clear focus of what you want, or even some idea of what you kind of are moving towards, the energy's all distorted because it doesn't know what you're looking for. It's so all over the place. So my biggest bit of advice is always, and has always been, set yourself some clear goals. Remind yourself of those goals every single day. They might be short term. It might be, please, I want £5,000 in the bank by 2 months' time. Right, at least then there's an energy field that you're moving towards. There's a goal you're moving towards. The energy can look after you.
If you had one thing to say to the rest of the world, Josh, if you had one day left to live, what would you say?
Oh, we've done this before.
That's because I fucking end every podcast with you, bellend.
Don't do LSD.
No, Josh, that's actually not a smart thing, because people can awaken and change their life by doing shit like that.
Make sure in whatever you do, you always give back as well. Whatever you want to do with your life, make sure that there's a part of your life where you're giving something back to the world or to the people around you. Don't just always take. Make sure you give something back, because eventually that give back will make you feel better than the taking anyway.
Eventually the give back will make you feel better than the taking. Basically, giving should be a more fulfilling feeling than receiving.
Well, the taking will only get you so far. I take your money, I put it in the bank, I spend it. I take your love, we make love. I take your whatever, we're done. I take your friendship and your thing, and I use it, and that fulfills me. But the act of giving something doesn't feel as obvious as making you feel great and giving you something, but the giving eventually is the thing that overrides the taking, always.
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, please remember to subscribe, turn the bell notifications on, like the episode, and comment below. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's YesKingOliver. Take a look at the other videos to your side. And if you just want to listen to this podcast, you can do so on Apple and Spotify and most other platforms by going to talkwitholiver.com.